before we start.
Oh yeah, there you go.
We
Thank you much.
Get back to our Hawaiian days.
Oh man, where'd you find this?
It's in the store.
They sell it here?
Yeah, for sure.
Wow, longboard.
Yeah, I don't know which one. I don't know if you drink beer even.
I don't drink beer.
So now I look like
but
the idiot who brought beer to.
But maybe I'll take some in here. I like the taste of it.
I'm not gonna force you to drink any alcohol.
Yeah,
but this is how creative people they get creative by drinking.
Yeah,
alcohol.
good for you, man. I haven't seen these in forever. Are these the same ones?
No, they're two different ones.
Oh, big wave and longboard. Yeah, these are popular.
They are pretty.
Wait, they made in Big Island?
Yeah, I think they have a brewery at Waikiki.
Dude, we used to live right there.
Imagine that, huh?
Fucking Waikiki Diamond Head. Do you miss it?
Oh, every day, especially now.
Yeah.
This kind of weather. So, but yeah, it's been
Anybody, any Norwegian, Swedish, Scandinavian that's been to Hawaii for an extended period, like you have especially,
yeah,
really miss it.
Oh yeah.
And I spent 12 years there, and then, but there's, I don't know, I miss aspects of it, but I kind of did everything there, and I was ready to move and, make a new chapter in my life. If it wasn't for the weather here, dude, I would love this place.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I after 3 years in Hawaii, I felt the same. I was ready to go home.
Yeah.
I think I was fed up with a lot of things.
Because if you're there for a semester, it's one thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you went hard, and then I still want to go to like other islands, whatever. But like, I don't know about you, but I went through a phase where when I got there, I wanted to do everything. Yeah. Because you don't want to like have that FOMO. And then like you kind of mellow out and you really can appreciate, like the cultures and the food. Yeah. And I think that's where you really experience like, wherever you're, not just in Hawaii, but wherever you're at, you really experience like what it's like to feel like almost like a local. Yeah,
right? I totally agree. That's like you say, after you've been there, we found that, if you travel more than 2 weeks or 3 weeks to a place, you spend the first couple of weeks just doing everything.
Yeah.
And then
the things you have to.
Yeah, and then you just quiet down after that and kind of settle in. And I mean, 3 weeks is not enough, obviously, but when you're staying at a totally different country for a longer period of time, like a few months or whatever, then the last part of your trip is always the best, because then you get into the flow of the place.
You kind of feel like a local.
Yeah, you kind of feel like a local.
Yeah, 3 weeks is a long time though if you're on holiday. In America, we're not used to vacationing for 3 weeks. We do like a weekend, 7 days maybe, but you guys fucking have it good. Especially like the teachers here. Or I guess it's teachers anywhere. They have a lot of holidays.
Because in America you have 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
But you have a lot of public holidays that we don't, I think.
Seems like they have a lot of holidays here. Every couple of weeks, my wife's like, "Yeah, it's a holiday." I'm like, "What is the holiday here?"
What's sad in Norway is that we have all the holidays in like the spring period. There's no public holidays from summer till Christmas. So the toughest part of the year, we have no days off, which is kind of hard, because you have Thanksgiving in that period, and you have some other days.
Towards the end, we have people just basically take off, like November, December, But I find it ironic because a lot of the holidays here that you guys have are religious.
Yeah.
And you guys are statistically, if I'm not mistaken, like the least religious country in the world.
Might be.
Yeah. So you guys are like, fuck it, we'll just use that and we'll just take some days off work.
I mean, use it for what we can, right? I actually read a study on this, or an article on this a few days ago, where it said that a king in the 17 or 1800s, he reduced our public holidays by 50%. So he got rid of, one guy, one king. He got rid of like 50% of all the Christian holidays, public days. So we could have had more, but we don't.
Damn bastard.
Yeah, damn bastard.
He's like, get the fuck back to work. What are you taking all these days off for?
You need to work.
Yeah. But we were mentioning before going live, the work culture here in Norway is so easy. Now, I haven't worked, for a company here, for example. But my wife just recently started a new job, maybe 3 months ago. And dude, it's like, she loves it. I mean, she likes the work that she does, but obviously having good coworkers and that, that culture, is a big part of, your appreciation and happiness at your company or wherever you work.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that kind of like through and through, like across the board, people love working.
Have you talked to the right people?
I mean, I'm sure people hate some, like anywhere else, like some people hate their jobs, but in general, what I've seen, my observation of being here cumulatively about a year, people generally like enjoy their coworkers and such.
I mean, yeah, I think that's probably right. I would say a job is still a job, even for me as a CEO of a company. I still find days hard to go to work, but at the same time, I think in Norway there's a culture of flexibility and trust, which gives a lot of people the ability to kind of tailor their day as they wish, and I think all that freedom is very valuable for our culture. And but at the same time, if you look at the statistics, we have a lot of sick leave people. So something is happening in the work environment as well, because a lot of people can't cope with the day-to-day life.
Really,
and the stress of work. I don't know why, but like you say, because we have a lot of things here in Norway that you don't have in other countries, and I would say that we have probably one of the best work-life balances that there is, and still we have so many sick people that are not being able to work. So it's weird.
Now, do you think? I mean, of course, this is a guess, but do you think those sicknesses or people leave? Are those like physical sicknesses, or are they more kind of mental, psychological?
My mental, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's what they say, that before they used to have issues with physical illnesses, but now most of it is mental. I'm not going to go into this in detail because I have no idea what I'm talking about. But at the same, that's an issue in Norway now, because there's a lot of mental illness.
Yeah, I've noticed that, and I don't think it's like specific to Norway. You're seeing it, in a lot of different countries as well.
Yeah,
which is really sad. I don't know what the culprit is. I mean, some people say it's social media. Some people, but I would attribute some of that. Again, I'm not going to put a percentage on it.
Yeah,
but from the weather here.
Probably some.
I mean, not to beat that dead horse even more dead, but I mean, the long winters, and I kind of like underestimated it because I was like, no, I'll be fine. Like I've traveled a lot, I've traveled Scandinavia multiple times, but now that I'm like really living here, man, like fucking 6 weeks of rain straight, and you're just like, oh my God.
You tell someone else that in another country, they're like, no way, 6 weeks of rain can't happen.
And then like during the day, if it's like today, you're like, great. But most of the day, it's just like fucking thick layer of cloud that just stays over the whole country. It just seems like.
I was in Egypt actually this year, and I talked to some guys in Egypt, and they told me that whenever they had rain in Egypt, they were like, oh, they went out dancing. Like it was a party in the street. Yeah. But then I said, in Norway, we have like rain for several weeks in a row. And they were like, no. No, that's not possible.
Yeah.
So they couldn't understand that.
Yeah, I guess there's different ends of the spectrum. But when you don't have rain, you kind of appreciate rain. Yeah. But when you have it all the time, you're like, fucking go away.
Yeah. I mean, like you said previously, like Stavanger is awesome. This is a great place, but the weather really makes it hard to appreciate it. Yeah.
And we've had quite a bit of snow recently. Yeah. But I hear from locals that's not very common here.
No.
Yeah. So, but I like it. I mean, it's super cozy.
It is really cozy.
Yeah. I prefer. I'd much rather have some snow than 6 weeks of rain.
Totally.
But But going back real quick, you're from this area, right? You're born and raised. And what I know, there's a lot of like we met in Hawaii, and I had a good group of Scandinavian friends, and we ended up meeting, and I actually ended up dating one of your friends, your good friends. So what I know there's a big kind of push here for Scandinavians to go outside and study abroad. How did you end up in Hawaii? Like, kind of run me through the whole process.
Yeah, so I've always, from a young age, I've always wanted to live in another country. Yeah. So I've always been looking for that opportunity to get away in sorts. And when I studied marketing in Stavanger, they had this exchange program, which gave the opportunity to go go to England or Australia or Hawaii, and then Hawaii kind of stood out as a the best option. Yeah. And I like to surf here in Norway before I went there, so that made it even more appealing to go there. So I guess it was kind of an easy choice.
No one's pulling your leg to go there?
No,
or
not
forcing
at all.
you?
So I went by myself, and I don't regret it at all. Yeah, it was good. Yeah. But like you say, a lot of people in Norway probably spend a semester abroad because they have the opportunity, and they it's important to broaden your horizon and get other perspectives of life.
Yeah.
Because if you stay here in a bubble, you just, I don't think there's so much to learn out there, and definitely worth going somewhere else.
Yeah. You can definitely, I think here, again, I'm not like pinning this place, as any different, but you can easily get yourself in a bubble here.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years goes by and you're like, what have I done?
Yeah.
But again, that could be said, for anywhere really.
True.
Yeah.
True. I think, in a sense, wherever you're living in the world, you always want to explore different parts of the planet just to be able to learn something else.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Were you surprised when you got to Hawaii how many Scandinavians were there?
Definitely. Because I did some research beforehand, and I looked up, Australia is very common for Scandinavians to travel. England is definitely normal. So I wanted to go somewhere where I didn't have to speak Norwegian too much. So I didn't find too much information on how many Norwegians or Scandinavians there were there. But I thought maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And when I got there and I just started hearing Norwegian and Swedish all over, I was like, what the hell? Am I in an next door country?
Yeah.
So that was kind of surprising for me, how many there were, because we were all over there. Took over the island.
Yeah.
But it was fun because, I still had a lot of classes where there wasn't any Scandinavians. But at the same time, it's good to have that comfort and having people that you relate to close by, so you didn't feel too much far from home.
Yeah. But for someone like yourself, again, I don't want to make any assumptions, but I think you did a really good job, and I know a couple other Norwegians and Swedish that did a good job of like not having only Norwegian friends, because I think the folks that went over there and just hung out with Norwegians and Scandinavians kind of missed out,
Yeah.
a lot of, I know a lot of Norwegians went there also to kind of refine their English, meet some new friends that are not from Scandinavia.
Yeah.
But if you hang out with only Scandinavians, that's really going to be your experience. You're basically at home in a different country.
Yeah.
And I think, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you did a good job of kind of branching out, putting yourself out there, being uncomfortable. I'm sure your English got a lot better. I'm sure you made a lot of international friends. So I think you did the right way.
Well, yeah, thanks. I tried to do that I tried to have that as a purpose, not to hang out with too many Scandinavians. But I'm kind of a hypocrite because I ended up living with a Swedish woman anyways. But it was kind of nice to have that, familiarity at home. But at the same time, try to hang out with other nationalities whenever else I did. So yeah, a lot of people did just hang out with Scandinavians there, and they had these groups that just stuck together. Yeah, they did everything together, and I was like, this is not the right way to do this. And I'm happy that I didn't, because I have so many connections now from all over the world. Like one of the best friends I met over there was from Saudi Arabia, and he was just a totally different kind of person that I am, but it was awesome to have that kind of friend there.
Yeah,
and Koreans and Dutch, man, everything.
Yeah,
I didn't meet too many Hawaiians though. I was kind of sad about that afterwards, because they were not that easy to get close to, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's tough because again, the Hawaiians and the locals kind of stick to themselves as well.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I was there for 12 years. I made some Hawaiian local friends mostly through fitness and the gym, but I can see how, I don't know, like there's reverse racism there, and there's a lot of like kind of, good and bad history of Hawaii.
Yeah.
So there might be some of that. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, it's again, you have to really find and kind of go out of your way to do that. And it's kind of like the same here, like people have their circles and they're comfortable, and they've had, a lot of the people that live here and stay here and that were from here have friends from when they were like 4.
Yeah.
So to try to get into that circle it's hard, you know.
Yeah.
So I guess that could be said about, anywhere.
Yeah, probably. I did spend the last 6 months. I lived in more like a rural area in Waikiki, and then I stayed at
a rural area. And where did you live?
Like outside of Honolulu.
Yeah.
Not in Waikiki, but in Honolulu somewhere. And I lived in this Hawaiian girl's apartment, and she ended up not proposing to me, but she said if I wanted to have like a green card, I could marry her.
Oh, geez, don't say her name.
I'm not gonna say her name. So I did have the opportunity to stay there longer if I wanted to. Have a green card or whatever. But I ended up.
Options are great to have.
Options are great to have.
Yeah, definitely. I had a friend, acquaintance that was from I believe she was Hungarian, and I'm not putting her out there like throwing her under a bus. It was like everywhere in the news. So I'm sure if someone did any kind of research, they would find out. But there's a lot of military presence in Hawaii, and they also get a lot of benefits for being married versus single, like financial benefits. Yeah. And got caught. It was like a fictitious marriage, and it was a big deal. And they do deport the shit out of people. Yeah, I bet. It doesn't happen very often, I don't think, but when it's that obvious, I think it does happen. So yeah, I mean, there's who wouldn't want to stay in Hawaii?
Who wouldn't want to stay in Hawaii?
Yeah, if it's mutually beneficial, but
I'm glad I didn't do it though.
I mean, what you said 3 years?
Yeah, I was there for 3 years.
Yeah, that's you've got a chance to explore.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, I would have liked to stay longer, but at the same time, I was kind of done at the time, and I wanted to go back home to continue my life at home. So, and I worked there as well for half a year in American company. And just the whole work culture there was very different from what we're used to back here. Yeah. So,
how so would you say?
It was a bit different in terms of how you interact with your managers. Like here, we have a very flat structure where the manager and their employees are pretty much the same. Yeah. Over there, you had to kind of like be aware of what you said and how you acted, because they can fire you on the spot.
There's a hierarchy.
Yeah.
So.
And I think in Norway you have a lot of, how can you say, you have a lot of rights that you don't have over there as an employee, because you can't just get fired in Norway. You have to do a lot of bad things. Yeah. But over there, I could feel the energy of my coworkers, how they kind of like they didn't want to do anything wrong.
Yeah, they're walking on eggshells. Yeah.
And that was. Not how I was used to have it. But at the same time, it was a great place to work. I loved the colleagues and I loved the manager, and everything was great. But I missed home. I did, I missed the culture over here in some ways. Yeah.
Yeah, it goes far as, I mean, I don't know, some companies might even have it in their, their bylaws, but there is definitely like, I worked for the government for the majority of my career. And there's a hierarchy. So if you had like a complaint, for example, you would have to go to your immediate manager. You could not kind of jump steps and go to like, let's say, like a higher manager.
Yeah.
You just don't do it. Like if you did, then you'd get written up, and it's like what? Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
I don't want to. Maybe the problem's with you.
Yeah.
My manager. And I want to go talk to
Yeah, exactly.
But that's very much frowned upon. And I think, again, in general, that I don't know if it's changed. I haven't been in the American workforce in a long time, but in general, that's kind of the work culture in America. Yeah. People really respect and kind of adhere to that.
Yeah, I mean, everything has its pros and cons as well. So I'm not going to say that's worse than what we have, but it's different for sure. Yeah.
But it's not nice walking on eggshells like going to work. That's why I mentioned here, most people in general seem like they like going to work, because there is kind of that like kind of evening of like, no one's really having power trips.
Yeah, exactly.
The cool boss is the good boss.
Yes. Yes.
Like my wife works for a company here in Stavanger, and she's like buddy with the CEO, and he's. I
mean, that's how it is here. It usually is like that. And if anyone in Hawaii should listen, where I used to work, I loved working there. Don't get me wrong. But it was just different. It was just different. Yeah.
Different doesn't always mean better or worse. It's
different. Yeah. And but I think I remember you did some acting in Hawaii, right?
It's a part of my OCD. I can't just like do one thing. Yeah. I got into acting, and I really, I've always been a fan of art and performance art as a spectator. But I was doing some modeling, and my agent said, "Hey, there's this casting thing, and you should go and audition." I go, "Listen, I'm not an actor, I've done photo shoots, but I've never acted. So I'm going to embarrass you and me. So let's just forget about that." She goes, no. Like you've been, I don't know if you heard of the term typecast. Yeah. Yeah. So I was typecasted, and she said, basically you have the role, just don't fuck it up like too bad, and you'll get it. And I said, okay, why not? You know, I'm always up for doing new things, and so I went there. I auditioned, and I got the part in Hawaii Five-0. Subsequently, I ended up auditioning more and getting more roles in Hawaii Five-0 and Magnum PI. But I mean, they say if you get paid for it, you're it. You know, so I guess I'm an actor, but I want to do more. And then I even went the extra step of taking acting classes for a year and a half.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, I mean, not many people know that, but I worked with a really good acting coach in Honolulu. So yeah, I wanted to get into it more. Obviously, life changed. I'm here now, but I appreciate you asking. I mean, I've been thinking about getting back into it. You know,
I guess I remember seeing you in Hawaii Five-0. I love that show. So
if you're a fan, then yeah.
And when I saw
did you saw me? Like, did you know that I? Oh, so you're just watching it? Yeah, that's the best. That's the best.
I saw you. I was like, what the hell?
You're like, what the fuck is he doing on there?
That was funny. No, I remember that. I remember that well, actually.
Yeah, it wasn't like I wasn't obviously like a regular, but I wasn't an extra. They call it a co-star.
Because you were like a bad guy, right?
Yeah, I had a couple lines.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, so I couldn't really like show my acting, but it is what it is. Everyone has to start.
You did a great job.
Great job. They always typecast me into those like Yakuza gang member.
I wonder why.
I don't know. So, but that's how I guess my agent told me that's how you break in. You know, you get the ones you're typecasted to do, and then you find other opportunities. But the drawback to that is if you do too many of those, then that's all you were. You're a bad guy forever. You know.
But I always imagine, if I were to do acting, I would want to do a bad guy.
You're a bad guy?
Yeah, that would be fun.
I feel like you're like more of the heartthrob. Like the girls want to be with you, and that whole.
That you got to break the character. You got to do something that they don't expect.
So I could never play like a nice guy.
Of course you could.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I open this, by the way?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
great for sound in podcasts.
Yeah, do it right on the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Kjørepils, like we say in Norway.
Yeah.
You know
Skål.
that? Skål.
Yeah. I'm not drinking today, but we can always cheers.
It's Friday after all.
Yeah, there you go. So 3 years in Hawaii, and you said marketing at HBU, Hawaii Pacific University. Yeah.
That was good. It was I actually did one of the reasons why I chose America was that US has always been like the culprit of marketing and what you look to for your great marketing campaigns and everything. So I figured if I go to the US, then I would learn from the best, and I would get to the source of great material. I think I was kind of disappointed from what I got. I remember one of the first classes that I took over there, because I came from like a pretty visual and practical education here in Norway, where we used a lot of the programs that we use for in professional life, like Adobe and all that stuff. And I had kind of high expectations for what I was going to meet there. And I remember the first class I had in HPU, which was a design class. And I remember coming into the class and everyone was in Word, like the Word program.
Word document?
Yes, and they were making designs in Word art, like, the curvy letters and all that stuff.
Oh my God, like Windows 95?
Yeah, and they were making like t-shirt designs in Word, and they were talking about how great it was. And I was like, is this is this the level of but I mean, it was fun though. It was good. It was good.
I gotta say, okay, and I'm putting, I'm putting schools in Hawaii out there. Okay, I don't give a shit. I have no affiliation, but the education and the kind of like work environment in Hawaii, this goes for everything in Hawaii. Hawaii's just different.
I feel like it's a bit behind.
It is. I mean, it's you're literally going to like a third world country in America.
Yeah.
I do have to say, if you went to like, let's say, a reputable university in the mainland U.S., I think you would have had a much different experience.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure. But it was also, as soon as I adjusted my expectations and my, my needs, it turned out to be a great school. I had a great time and met some amazing people and learned a lot of things. So I'm grateful and happy about the whole experience, but it was just not what I initially imagined.
So if you're listening and thinking about going to school in Hawaii, just have, like Daniel said, realistic expectations.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Tune them down a bit.
Yeah. So you did, you got your bachelor's in marketing?
Yeah, bachelor's.
Bachelor's, okay, in marketing. Have you always been? I mean, because it seemed like you went to school, you had interest in marketing, you've always been into marketing. How did you like fall into that? How did you? What kind of like drove you to get into that marketing field?
I think it's kind of hard to pinpoint the exact reason.
Yeah.
I remember being in like what we call videregående here at high school, I think it is. And I tried to choose the easiest route to just get to get an education.
You know, I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to offend you. But everybody in the U.S. who basically, and not necessarily the worst thing, but who didn't know what they wanted to do, or just wanted to do business, but didn't, they wanted kind of like a fallback thing. Yeah, they chose marketing.
Yeah, exactly. So we did have this this study line, which is called sales and service back in the day. So it was like everyone said it was an easy way to get your education. So I went there, and I guess along the way I kind of found a passion for it, because it is a very interesting field of study, and it kind of just escalated from there. But I guess that's the boring answer for the whole question. I mean, what I really enjoy about the whole marketing aspect is the storytelling and the visual way of presenting things. And I've tried to think about this several times of why I went into this, and I keep coming back to a few of those old and iconic marketing campaigns that I remember from childhood. One of them being the Avis, We Try Harder. I don't know if you heard of that campaign.
Avis, the car?
Yeah, the rental company. Because I remember being in a rental office back in the day with my dad. I think it was in Florida. And they had these posters on the wall which said,
what did it say?
Avis, We Try Harder is basically the campaign name. Wow. And they advertised that they were only the second best rental company in America, so they try harder to be, the best, which is kind of like
authentic.
Really authentic, really cool.
Because everyone's like, we're number one. Yeah, we're number one in this and that. Yeah.
So they kind of choose another angle on it, and that campaign made by David Ogilvy and his brand agency, it stands as one of the best marketing campaigns through history.
That stood out to you?
Yeah, it really stood out to me, and I remember that moment still from childhood, and that must mean something, I guess.
Yeah, I think schools, man. Again, like this is vastly general, and I say this over and over again, but I think schools, as far as like university and colleges, do a massive, at least in the U.S., disservice to the marketing industry, because the marketing industry, as you know, is not going away. Yeah, I mean, it's only growing. The amount of advertising dollars that people are spending are growing. I mean, that's how these big, mega tech companies are staying afloat, Facebook, Instagram. But I think the schools and the universities are doing a disservice because, again, marketing should not be a fallback thing. It shouldn't be like, oh, if you're doing marketing, that's kind of like, just a general education type thing. No, I mean, it's a growing field, and I don't think that universities do it justice, for the people that are interested.
I mean,
what are your thoughts?
I guess it depends on which university, because a lot of like the ones that I choose here in Norway, they were kind of like a fallback option. It wasn't great, but it was okay. So I guess where was I? Yeah, the ones that I took here in Norway, that's not the best one. But if you go to the right ones, they are really good. Like you said, in the US, there are some universities that are really good in the marketing field. So I guess it's the same for every kind of thing you study. You have better universities and you have worse universities. But I guess what kind of differentiates marketing from other fields is that it's forever evolving and it's always changing. And what was fresh 2 weeks ago is old today. There's so much new and so much stuff going on, and it's kind of hard to keep track. Yeah. And a lot of universities or school, if they don't stay updated, they will teach their students old things, which is they can't use when they educate.
Yeah, I mean, if you take things like history, I mean, that stuff doesn't evolve, right? I mean, it's literally in the past. But when you get like an industry like marketing, or I would even say like medicine, I mean, these things change nowadays. I mean, technology, these things change like almost every week. Yeah. the software, the techniques. I mean, everything.
Yeah. True.
So that again, that's where I think universities kind of fall behind. But again, not all universities. Like if you went to New York, for example, like they're ahead, right?
Yeah.
They know exactly what's in style, what's trending. But most universities, like in fucking bumfuck Alabama, you taking marketing classes. Yeah, you're doing stuff in like Microsoft Word.
Yeah, exactly.
On T-shirts.
But maybe that's good in some cases.
For that market, maybe people want T-shirts.
Yeah, maybe they do.
Yeah.
No, it's true, like you say. It's a field that evolves very rapidly, and it's exciting though. That's one of the things that keeps us, also makes it very interesting and different from other jobs. I wouldn't change it for the world, because we get to experience so much different people and different technologies and everything. You can always learn more. You're never satisfied or settled, which is also good if you want to stay young and happy in your job. So yeah, I think that's important.
And I give you all credit, as credit is due, because I think the creative space, like what you do in marketing, it's challenging. I feel like because there's no end. Yeah. You can't finish learning, right? Because things are coming out new, and you have to evolve, and things get everything changes all the time. So there's no like finish line to it, which means that you have to continuously try to re-innovate, try to find or maybe set new trends, whatever it is. Yeah. So I give you all the credit in the world for what you do. Like I said, it's not if you're an artist, for example, and like you have a certain style, that's one thing, and you can continue that style. But for you, that's like always revolving. It's a moving target every time, depending on your client, right?
Yeah, I mean, many times I've compared to like a carpenter or whatever. Like, there's only so many ways to install a door. Yeah. There's only so many ways to do piping. I mean, of course there are complicated professions as well, but you have a template of sorts. You know what you're gonna do, and you know how to do it. In advertising or marketing, there's never a final answer. Yep. There's never a this works, this doesn't. It depends on so many factors, and you can't ever just go with an answer. You have to do so much work around it to figure out how to get there, and that's challenging, but also very rewarding when you do something that's actually working.
I mean, there's literally an infinite amount of options you can do.
Exactly.
I mean, even if you're doing like a commercial or a marketing campaign, like no one says this is a template, just fill in the blanks,
ask a carpenter to install your door, you'll get pretty much the same.
Right.
Ask a marketing guy to do an ad, you'll get 100 different ads. So it's very different in that way. Yeah, I would say. Yeah,
very cool. Yeah. I am a huge fan of the art of advertising and marketing. I'm a complete dumbass on the implications, So could walk us through your company, kind of how it was founded. I know the name has kind of an interesting meaning behind it.
Yeah. So again, I guess back to Hawaii. Hawaii has set his mark on my life. So when I finished studying in Hawaii in 2014, I think it was, I came back to Norway, and that was right about the time when the financial crisis hit in Norway. The oil industry was having a hard time, and in Norway, a lot of the ad agencies are tied to the oil industry, and they ended up, going bankrupt or letting people off. So it was impossible to find a job at that time when I came back. So I just figured I'd have to start something myself, and ended up being Bølgen Media, which is taking the wave as a form and bringing that into advertising in the sense that how it shapes and forms and creates everything. So I think a wave is kind of a powerful element that you can use in so many ways when it comes to portraying our identity and in advertising as well. So yeah, that's kind of how the name came to be, and at the same time we try to incorporate some of the aloha spirit, the aloha life into the brand, and try to keep it a bit different from how traditional Norwegian advertising agencies are, because a lot of them have their own style and their own way of doing things, but we are kind of like the aloha style of it all. And I get this response very often when I communicate with clients or potential employees, that whenever they send an email to us, we reply with aloha and their name and whatever. And they always comment on that, which is like a different kind of cool thing they see. So I think it's I don't know if that did that answer the question.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I was just curious about the history and how.
Yeah.
So is it Bolgen?
Yeah, Bølgen.
So that is the term wave in Norwegian.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
exactly.
cool.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a strong and kind of powerful word.
Yeah, I love
so
it.
we stick to that for now.
Do you have a logo? Is it
Yeah,
also
we do.
a wave?
Yeah, no, it's not a wave, because that's the thing. At the same time, I love everything Hawaiian and all that style, and with the surfing and everything. We at the same time try to distance ourselves from being too cliche and using waves too much and all that stuff. So we try to have it in small portions that kind of gives the idea of the whole aloha vibe, but at the same time not being too obvious.
Yeah. No, I love the whole. I was kind of scouring the Instagram and everything, and I love the aesthetics. I'm a big aesthetics guy. Like, I like things looking good, you know. And if I'm editing a photo, like, I'll spend until it's perfect, you know.
Yeah.
At least to my liking. But I love the aesthetics of everything you do.
Thank you.
I love the overall approach that you guys take. What type of services does your company provide, and what kind of clienteles have you had or are taking on?
Oh, man, we have so many different clients. Everything from adjusting, I don't know how to say it in English, but we have everything from the old companies to the companies that do carpentry or making saddles for horses. Like, we have pretty much everything, which is also why it's so much fun, because we always meet different people and different branches. But what was the question again?
No, like what kind of services you provide?
Oh, yeah.
And the type of clients you help, because it seems like you're there's no like restrictions on the type of clients you guys get.
Yeah,
right?
there's no restrictions on the clients, and also we do a very diverse amount of services. We try to be a full-scale advertising agency, which means that we do everything from print to digital ads to websites to video, photos, AI. Yeah, there's so many things that go into what we deliver these days. But I think our main focus and our main areas are websites and video.
So that's kind of your bread and butter.
Yeah. And but everything evolves from there, because if a client needs a website, he also maybe needs photos, and he needs maybe digital ads, and he needs business cards and whatever. So we do the whole thing, and for some clients we even do like strategies and have the whole marketing campaigns. So there's very different things that we do.
So you guys are kind of like a one-stop shop. So let's say, for example, I want to open a cafe, and I want to do some marketing. I'm shit at taking photos and uploading. You know, like so I contact you and your firm, and I say, hey, I'm opening up a cafe. Like, walk me through kind of like what services that I can expect, or like for a cafe, for example. Like, what type of things would you recommend? And just give me some advice.
Yeah, I mean, are you starting a cafe?
We'll take it off record, but we actually are thinking about not a cafe.
Yeah.
And we'll make it real brief. But when we were in Copenhagen for 2 years and our kids were young, we frequented this place called Little House.
Oh.
And it's got a bar, so I wouldn't really call it a cafe, but it had a seating area for adults. But the whole facility was basically kids can just go there and play.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and it was really popular because obviously here the weather's not so good. The winters are long, and you don't have kids. But for those people listening who have kids, little, like, you want to get out of the house, you know, because you'll get like cabin fever, and you'll get so restless, and the kids will just go crazy.
Yeah.
So you want to just like leave the house and go somewhere. But if the weather's shitty, you don't go to a playground. True. You know, there's like a huge Leo's Lekeland, I think.
Yeah.
But that's for kind of older kids, you know. So if you have like a baby that's crawling, not safe. So yeah, we're trying to open like a Bona cafe.
Cool.
Yeah, where, you know, adults can come and meet other parents.
Yeah.
And kind of socialize. We're going to be putting together like, you know, events where parents can learn about parenting and do some exercise. I don't know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then the majority of the space is going to be like, you know, mostly like kids play area.
Yeah.
So So when I ask this question, I'm more or less asking for a friend. The friend might be myself. Yeah.
No, but I mean that's usually how we would start though. We would start by getting to know the client and figuring out what they're gonna do and trying to get the sense of what kind of identity they go for and what kind of brand it is. And from there, it all depends on your ambitions and what you would like to do, because you could have anything from just a logo design or you could have the whole package. We always enjoy doing the whole package best, because then we have more, then we can do more for the client where we can help in all directions and set the whole tone and the brand identity for the client. And that gives us kind of like a base mark for all the services we need to do. So yeah, I mean, it all depends on the client, on how much they would like to have and what we could do. Because, like you said, like marketing is infinite. There's so many aspects of it, and if the client only had 10,000 kroners in a budget, then that would limit to some things. Right. And if they had 100,000, that would give us more playroom and way more options to do.
So, like most cases, depends on the budget as far as what you guys can and can't do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But for like that scenario, again, of that friend, a website, probably some videos, like to have the advertising, and then maybe some print material. Would you say?
Yeah, I mean, we always recommend having a good brand in as a bottom line, like having a good logo and everything, and know who you are as a brand, and from there, important to have a website, like you say, because that gives you a standard for everything, where all your communications can go into your website and you get conversions from there, and also all the social media stuff kind of build on top of that to have your channels to communicate with your brand, or your audience, and of course business cards. I don't know if people use that anymore, but good photos, having setting the tone for your cafe with great video and photo material, that's also very essential. Yeah, because people, especially in the cafe and restaurant industry, they go to TikTok, they go to Instagram, they go to Google and look up images and try to get a sense of what it is. And if you don't have good material there, then you're starting off the wrong way with an uphill battle.
Yeah, I think again, kind of stressing the importance of what you do. Yeah, they say you can't make a second first impression, and nowadays with how much time we spend on social media and on our phones. If I'm interested in going somewhere and I want to see okay, what's the vibe, and they have a really low resolution, low quality website or social media, or they haven't posted in a while, I'm just kind of turned off. Yeah. And so the importance of what you guys do, making a very appealing and storytelling video or website, is so important.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's hard to stress the importance of that to many clients, because a lot of time they know what they think they want, and we kind of communicate something else, but they might not agree, because we've seen that through experience and all of our years in the industry, what sells and what doesn't. And like you say, it's what the people want that you need to care about, not what you want to give the people. So it's kind of like it's kind of hard to sometimes convince to get clients to invest more to get better results.
Yeah, I experienced a little bit of that in my real estate career. If someone called me and said, "Hey, I'm looking to sell my house," I would go over there and kind of and bring my research. Of course, the seller always wants more money, and that's our goal as well. But our approach is different, Like I would say, okay, this is the market value. I understand you want, this much. However, the market value is letting me know that it's this much based on comparable sales and so forth. However, we should price a little bit lower, and here's why, right? And I go into okay, people, think it's a great home, but it's priced right. So there's a competitive pricing. There's competition. There's a bidding war, and it'll actually drive up the price. So when you explain it that way, if you are this trusted advisor, they'll listen. But I know what you're saying. There's people who know what they want.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because they hire you as a professional, as a marketing professional.
Yeah.
And then want to dictate how, I guess that's just human nature, right?
It's human nature, yeah. And we see that a lot as well, because it's many times it's a struggle to to get the client where you want to have them. But also at the same time, it's very rewarding when you get there and they understand, you know, that you know what you're talking about. And I guess it's the same way for you as well in the real estate industry, that, you know, when you finally get them to understand, that is very rewarding in the end. For both parts.
I came to a point, and this was kind of the changing point in my real estate career. Whereas before I would, you know, because, you know, like being new, you want the business. And so I would say, okay, I've told you what I need to tell you as your advisor, but we'll just do what you want to do just for the business. And when I started developing a name for myself and a reputation, I would say, this is how we're going to do it. And if you don't agree to it, and I've explained, I'm not just like bulldozing them, you know, but I've explained to you why this is for your benefit. My business changed because then they really saw me as an advisor and not a salesperson. You know, that really made a big difference in my business.
Because you don't want to be that salesperson. You want to be that advisor that they trust. That's a big difference. And clients can tell if you're just talking bullshit, or if you know what you're saying.
Because salespeople are a dime a dozen, but experts, you know, they're far and few. True. So if you really, you know, like in your case, if you're the marketing expert, you know, they should really kind of, you know, listen to what you're saying, you know, as far as what can help them.
Marketing experts.
So you have, I mean, you service like in this example, like small businesses, and you obviously work with very big clients.
So we have, like I said earlier, we have a lot of different clients, everything from big oil companies that do, you know, service for the oil and gas industry, which are a totally different breeds than a restaurant or a cafe or whatever. It's on the other side of the spectrum. So it's very different, and which is also what makes it so interesting. All the different people that we interact with, and all the different audiences and markets we get to work in, and everyone has their own needs of what they want to, you know, communicate and what their goals are ultimately. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting. And
how many employees do you have now?
We have 3, so it's not a big company still, but we're working on expanding. So we have a few upcoming things that we are doing that will probably make it, you know, change direction a bit of what we've been doing up until now. So interesting things are probably going to happen in 2025, which is I can't really discuss yet, but it's
I was going to say, can you talk about it?
I can't really talk about it yet, but some things will happen, and we're probably, because we always try to be, you know, aim to be a bigger agency. We've had a few years now where we've kind of been stable, growing steadily but slowly, but now we want to kind of change it up a bit and grow a bit faster. So we're looking at opportunities to expand in some ways. So it will be an interesting year for sure.
As a good CEO would have to think about, you know, those are things that, you know, you would have to reassess every so often. So
exactly.
But I mean, it's a small company now in air quotes, but I think, you know, again, from just an outside perspective, I think you guys are doing really well. And if you guys, you know, become one of the largest marketing companies in Norway, I wouldn't be surprised in a couple of years.
Hopefully.
Yeah, you'll be surprised at how quickly, you know, things can happen. You might just need one big client or, you know, one turn of events, and next thing you know, you're fucking raking in, you know, you're billing multiple millions of kroners in marketing.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
No, it's like you say, you never know what's going to happen, and it all depends on the clients and what kind of projects we are working on. You know, all of a sudden you can get a good lead for a big project, and then everything changes. And on the other hand, you can lose clients, and you know, things changes that way. But luckily, we've been having good relationships with all our customers, and we have a good reputation in the work that we do and how we communicate and our relationships. So it's always been steadily increasing in clients. So that's good. And at some point we have to expand. And as of now, we're comfortable at the way we are, but we're looking to do something bigger.
Good.
Yeah.
I think most business owners, and I've owned my businesses, you know, before as well. I think most businesses think that they're in the business of what industry they're in. So for example, like advertising, or if you're selling coffee or shoes, whatever it is. But I think the big takeaway that, again, if you're listening, that kind of resonates for me, and what I think is really the differentiating thing between a really successful business and a business that does okay, just are able to open doors and whatever, is that people need to realize, the owners or CEOs need to realize, everybody's in the people business.
Yeah.
Right. So if you don't, and if you have a business and you're listening and you think you're selling shoes, just change your mindset and think of it as you're servicing people.
Yeah.
And I think that just that mindset and perspective change will make a huge difference.
Yeah,
would you agree to that?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think, because you always deal with people. You don't deal with objects, obviously. So if you can relate to people and have a good conversation and get people to feel comfortable and, make people want what you have, that's how to sell your merchandise. You're not selling your shoes, like you say. You are selling to people, or you're getting to know people.
Yeah, exactly.
It is a people's business. Yeah.
I'll give, if you don't mind, just one small example of that.
Yeah.
Again, not to put myself on a pedestal, but as we're talking to this, it's relevant. I was sitting in open house one time. I don't know if they have open houses here for real estate, but we had an open house. Anyone can come by and take a look at the house. And we had, I had a older lady, kind of in her 40s, I think, maybe 50s, and 2 young daughters come in. And she was very standoffish. I'm sure she went to a couple open houses. They got the sales pitch and they just were fed up. Yeah. And I said, hey, listen, I'll be here if you have any questions. I'm not going to follow you around, but I'll be here if you have any questions. And at the end, she said, listen, I have a realtor. Don't talk to me. I get the whole pitch. I'm like, yeah, you're right, whatever. And I said, and then the kids weren't following her around. They were like playing with the toys. Before they left, the girls were crying because they wanted to take this ukulele home, right? And I said, well, you can't obviously take that. And in kind of a private conversation, I said, hey, listen, you have an agent, nothing against that. I'm sure they're great, but can you forward me your address? I'm going to send your daughter something. And I ended up sending them, just like a play ukulele, and she called me back and said, I cannot believe you bought my daughter. I mean, it was cheap. Yeah. It was cheap. It was like $10 or something.
And the gesture, the whole thing.
Yeah, no, and I get emotional talking about it because there's that human element really, I think makes a big difference and kind of relevant to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But she called me and said, hey, listen, our realtor hasn't done shit for us. And this is a sign, if you're willing to do this for our family, like, I feel like we'd be much more comfortable in working with you.
Yeah.
Subsequently, we'll kind of fast forward. Yeah. They ended up buying a $1.8 million house in Kahala. Wow. And I've been to 3 or 4 different family events because the wife likes to cook. And the guy's a service member of the military. And we've become great friends. And none of that, I mean, not just on the sales side, on the business side, but I gained a friend.
Yeah, exactly.
A family friend, like a genuine family friend from that, So again, not to put myself on a pedestal, but that's just one example of how, as business owners like you and I need to really think about, okay, like, we're in the people business.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, we're in the people business, not just selling advertising or shoes or coffee.
And it's so important to see the people for who they are. You can't just treat it as a job. You have to get relationships. You have to be that person who does that kind of thing, because then it opens doors and you get, like, friends. I mean, who's to say you should separate job from personal life? Because why not get friends from your professional connections?
Why not? Yeah.
So it's a great example on how things actually work.
Yeah.
And I have to say that my colleague as well, he's like really a people person, and he loves to be social and loves to go to events and everything. And he has such a big network and so many friends and so much trust out there because of who he is and the way he acts and how kind he is and how he sees people. Yeah. That it's just inspiring to look at. Yeah. I mean, I would aspire to become such a person as well. I'm not in that way.
Yeah. Give him a shout out. Give him a shout out right now. I mean,
and Andre, this is for you.
You're doing a great job.
Doing a great job.
Yeah. Ask for a pay raise.
Yes. No. But yeah, so like you say, it's really important to see the people. It is everything, really.
It's funny you mentioned the whole friends thing because I used to coach my agents and I did some business coaching and consulting, and I would say just that. I said, fuck up the whole sales thing. Do not think yourselves. Go make friends. If you have a friend, how hard is it to convince your friend to buy something from you? Exactly. Not very hard. Yeah, you know. Exactly. So go make friends, and it just, I mean, you really dumb it down to that. Yeah, you know, that's what it comes down to.
I mean, you'd do great in the advertising industry.
If you need anyone, if you're looking for anyone, no, I think those things kind of transcend any one particular industry. I think they're kind of, you know, ubiquitous. You know, like that type of outlook and attitude and perspective would work in any industry.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you being here, man. Like I said, when I saw that you were starting or you had started and grown this marketing company, and who knew that I'd end up in Sandnes, Stavanger, out of all places. You know, we meet in Hawaii, and then you know, I meet my now wife in Hawaii, and I met a really good friend like you in Hawaii, and just it's a true blessing. And like you said, if anyone's listening that doesn't really get out, I mean, I really hope that it, you know, encourages people to travel the world. I mean, you're a super avid traveler. And I think, you know, yourself and myself included, we can kind of testify as to all the benefits, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, traveling is the reason why I work, to be honest. Yeah. If I didn't have, you know, that passion, it would be hard to be passionate about work. So you have to have, you know, you have to indulge in whatever it is you like to do. And like you say, you know, going abroad and meeting people, that's how we ended up in this room together. Yeah. It's just amazing how you meet so many different people out there, and what it can result in eventually. Who knew that we would end up in Sandnes in a podcast studio? From meeting in Hawaii. It's just crazy. Yeah. It's such a far. It's so far to Hawaii from here, and still we're sitting here now. It's just mind blowing to think about, actually.
Yeah. But the world is much smaller now.
It is.
You know, you know, just another good example of what we're referring to here. When I was in Hawaii and single, just so everyone knows, I hosted this. There was a website called Couchsurfing. I don't know if you've heard of it or people have heard of it. But Couchsurfing is Airbnb basically without a fee. So if you're in an area and you have an extra couch or a bedroom or a spot on the floor, because a lot of people are, mostly younger people, like I was in my 20s when I got to Hawaii, are looking to go, but they don't have the budget. You know, so a lot of people coming to Hawaii, we're able to scrounge up money to buy the airfare, but maybe not enough money to like stay in a hotel. Yeah. You know, so Couchsurfing was a great option, and I was a host there for many, many years, and I've met some amazing people. I'll give you an example. Like I hosted these two, this couple, a male and female, and they were both chefs in Paris. And dude, they would text me before I got off work, and after a couple of days, I was like, okay, these people are amazing. We became good friends. I showed them around. I said, here's a key. Just, you know, come and go as you please. Now, people might think, okay, you're fucking crazy. You just literally met these people. But again, people are, you know, it's not that dangerous. You know, of course, things can happen, right? Of course. And I got lucky. Nothing did happen. But they would text me before I got off work and said, what do you want to eat?
Oh, that's amazing.
And I always used to say, surprise me, you know? And they're like, okay. So they would run to the grocery store during the day and have like a 5 or 4 or 5 star like dinner ready for me. Like when I got home, we used to have wine and just, you know, and then so I didn't let people stay longer than 4 days because, you know, if they were the crazy type, I'd be like, all right, see you later. You know, they were going to stay for 4 days, which was my maximum. But they said, hey, is it okay if we stay longer? I said, stay as long as you want, you know? So they ended up staying for like 10 days, which saved them a lot of money. And we became really good friends. And when I quit working for the FBI in 2000, what was it? I don't know, 20, no, not 20. I don't even remember what day. When I took off to travel for the year, all the people that I met during Couchsurfing and traveling, of course, and a lot of them were here in Europe, I would stay with them. Perfect. And they were like more than willing. I mean, they're almost like offering up and like, you know, obligated. They felt like not obligated, but they wanted me to come and stay with them because it was like their way of paying back for, you know.
It's such a great way to meet people.
Yeah. And I know people listening thinking, okay, like that's fucking crazy. But you know, but yourself included and myself, like this type of traveling isn't dangerous.
No, I mean, I remember that being a thing in Hawaii, actually, the whole couch surfing thing. I met a lot of people there who were hosts for people, and they said, you know, they told me how many awesome people they have met. But I also heard the occasional crazy story. So, you know, like you say, having a maximum is probably a good idea. But I don't think I don't think it's a big thing in Norway to have the couch surfing option. It should be, because it's a great way to meet people. Now that you mention it, I have to look into that again, because which better way to meet people?
Absolutely. Yeah. But I would say a disclaimer out there. if you're a single female without like another friend or something, and you get a guy asking you if you want to stay, don't do that. Yeah. So, but the good thing is, I think the website's still up and they have reviews. So, people leave reviews. So, if they have like, a decent amount of good reviews, and probably they're safe,
Yeah. But I mean, everyone wants to make money these days. So I guess most people they're on Airbnb now.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So, well, cool, man. Well, I appreciate you being here. Like I said, how can, if you're a small business or big business, or if you have marketing and advertising needs, how do they get in touch with you? How do they find you?
I mean, the easiest thing to do is just to go to the website, blgn.no, or contact me on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook, because I'm on all those platforms. But
what's your Instagram handle?
Danny Discovers.
Danny Discovers. All right.
Yeah. From back in the day when I wanted to be an influencer. Never quite made that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how they could reach out. And we would love to grab a coffee with anyone who'd like to. So yeah, no pressure.
Yeah, fantastic. So if you're out there listening, looking to start a business, have a business, and looking for some marketing and advertising guidance, contact Daniel Thu on his, is it 2 or?
Yeah, it's 2.
Okay, yeah.
I like the number 2.
I never like introduce people on this podcast saying their name because I always fuck it up. Like I had a physician friend of mine on the podcast this week, and his name is Gunnar.
Yeah,
and I first called him Gunnar. It's so embarrassing.
That's a cool name though.
Yeah. But I appreciate you being here. Yeah. And again, if you have any marketing needs, please reach out. And we met how many years ago now?
Must be 12, 13.
Without dating ourselves too much. But 13 years ago, we met in Hawaii, probably the most remote place in the world, maintained friendships, and now we're here in Stavanger. So if you're out there scared of getting out, go out there, meet people. And if you have any marketing needs, contact Daniel.
Do it. Let's do it.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.